first time for Dara to do it, and my first time. So we're trying to keep it as relaxed as we can and as enjoyable as we can. And hopefully through it, you'll all get a bit of an insight into somebody who I think has made a huge difference to the business over many years. So just to give you, for those of you who don't know, a little bit of background about Dara, so you can blush for a moment. So Dara started as an associate consultant, fresh-faced associate consultant, no beard in those days. His first year's billings was 175,000. He started in 2011, so that gives you many years? 7 years in the business. First year's billings in 2012 was 175,000, but since then he's averaged a massive 632,000 annually. That's every year over a 6-year period, and that is significant. You know, there's very, very few people in our business who have managed that type of consistency in that level of billings, which is fantastic. And he peaked in 2016 at 874, where he was the global top biller in that year. So he has a lot, I suppose, of insights I think that he can share and talk to people about. And I think it's fair to say Dara has worked tirelessly to build the Morgan McKinley brand, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Somebody who has really invested in building his personal brand and his specialist brand within his market. So a lot of that to come. So that's a little bit of background. So maybe Dara, as I start, because you know most people when they say when they were growing up, did they dream of getting into recruitment? Did you dream of getting into recruitment? And if you did, and how did you get into recruitment? How did recruitment come about?
Yeah, I think I knew I wanted to work in sales. I think I didn't really realise that recruitment is sales. Before working in recruitment, when I was doing my masters, myself and 3 co-founders set up a tech startup. We gave it a year and a half. Great experience, but it wasn't to be. We had to pull the plug on it. So after that, then I suppose I started looking at my options. I knew I wanted to work in sales because, like, I always had little business ventures going. I was always buying and selling stuff. Like even
clarify the stuff.
Yeah. No, like you name it.
Legal stuff.
No, like I always remember, even as on the bus to school or just kicking footballs around, I always had a buy and sell. You might remember the yellow newspaper, the classified ads. I always had one of them. Always had just different business ventures ongoing. I had my own market stall for 10 years. Myself and my uncle did the markets in Ferry House, which was just an unbelievable experience for me. It was like just so much fun and just taught me so much about business and spotting opportunities, and it just really just put a seed in me, and I knew I wanted to work in sales. So after the startup thing, I'd done a year in Allianz Insurance. It was sales development. It wasn't really sales. It was sample that. It wasn't for me. I kind of was looking at my options, saw some of my friends working in recruitment, started to learn about uncapped commission and accelerators, and started seeing the stuff they were buying and know that they were making money, and thought I'll give this a go. So started applying to recruitment companies. Love IT. I have a background in it from my studies, so got a few offers and chose Morgan McKinley, and here I am.
Alright, well, fairness, that's a great background. I love the sort of commerciality of always looking for the opportunity to sell and do that, and obviously that's taken you far within the business here. But if you were to stand back and look and say, what would you think were the sort of key practices that have contributed to your success over the years? What are the things that have made you successful?
Yeah, there's obviously a lot to it, but I would say looking at basics, setting yourself high targets and goals, planning your months right down to your day. So looking at, okay, it's great having a monthly target, but what does that mean? Break it down to your week and your day. More importantly, having an aim for every day. I think objectively looking at your pipeline and noting and catching it on time. If you go a bit wayward, maybe I'm light on candidate side, maybe I'm light on the client side. Basic things like having an intention with every phone call, trying to get something from every phone call. Following up with candidates and clients, basic stuff, and hard work, determination. I think it is bringing it back to basics though. It's a numbers game. How many CVs have I sent today? If I haven't sent 5 CVs, if I haven't sent 10 CVs, whatever your number is, maybe it's not time to go home yet. You know, how many CVs? If I'm sending a CV to one client, can I send it to other clients? So yeah, it's just like it's having I suppose really what we're talking about is KPIs, but I think KPIs would probably get a bad rep, probably needs a rebrand, but just if your work success back, it is having a high output mentality, and you know, I suppose like just having the knowledge that, you know, every day you come in, you're going to be here anyway, let's just, you know, work on having a high output.
Well, I think that it's very valid, because you know, people say to you about recruitment, I call it, isn't rocket science, but if you don't sort of do the basics consistently well, and as you call it with the reference of high output, well then that's where we struggle. But actually people who do that and apply that really, really well, that's where they succeed, because they get to know their markets, become experts in it, and they drive that with really good activity. So clearly that's worked for you, and it's a good tip for others. But what about mindset? Where is mindset into it? Because, like, you know, you're talking about, they're the things you have to do, but you have to you sort of have the right mindset to apply to be successful. So what's yours?
Yeah, look, I think mindset is very important. Like, it's something that, like, I'm kind of a bit of a pop psychology junkie. I read a lot of sports psychology books and stuff. I believe in, like, priming the mind for success. I think, look, just setting high goals and targets. Setting goals that, look, they're high, but they're achievable. You know, they're hard enough to bring you from where you are to the next step, but, you know, give yourself a reasonable probability of success. You know, I think, look, if you want to be the top biller in your team, if you want to be a top biller in Ireland, globally, like, you can do all that. It comes with, you know, you have to be somewhat flexible, you have to be tenacious and determined, but, like, it can be done, and like anyone here could be top biller next year. It's absolutely can be done. I think though, in mindset, Jerry, you might remember a couple of years ago you had mentioned something to me about me working for Dara Boland Limited, and it struck a chord with me, and it's something that it was quite motivating, because just viewing your desk as, you know, your own little business has always been a motivator. I've had that mindset. You know, it's up to you when you get up out of bed, it's up to you how hard you work, it's up to you what your output is, it's up to you how much money you make. So, look, we have the benefit of an unbelievable brand in Morgan McKinley. The team is, like, we've never had a better team. Like, the support, the marketing, everything, brilliant. We don't pay for the phone bills, but, like, it's...
Not yet.
Yeah. But yeah, just having the mindset of, look, maybe like you're a franchise holder of Morgan McKinley, or it's your baby. That's a good mindset to have, I think.
Yeah, look, do you know what? That's a really positive way of looking at it, because sometimes people, when they work within larger organisations, sort of going to get a little bit caught up going, I'm sort of the, you know, small cog in a big wheel. But actually, if you break it down and say, actually, this is my business, and this is, you know, and I take ownership and I take pride in it, and I drive it like as if you say you're Dara Boland Limited, you're out on your own. And I think that sort of pushes you that bit further than if you're going, oh, this is just more of McKinley's business. So, you know, I think that's a really positive way to look at it. And obviously over the years, you've seen lots of people and you've worked around, and you've, I'm sure, have various tips, tricks, what you call recruitment hacks. What any of those that you'd impart to people?
Yeah, so anyone from the IT team will know that, like, if a call comes in from me, I do this or this, and people look at me like I have 10 heads. So this, right, we used to do this, I don't know how it's been lost, but this means hold, this means call back, right? Hold, call back. It's a game changer. No, I'm being facetious, obviously, but like there's a lot of tips and tricks. Like, I think that, like, the role of the recruitment consultant is changing so much. There's so much now. I think, like, if you look at, like, the first 2 or 3 years of a recruitment consultant's life cycle, you can reasonably, you know, double your billings year on year. And I think the reason for that is because there's so many cogs that you can fine tune to make yourself a more complete recruiter. Like, personally, tips and tricks, right? Like, I believe that recruiters live and die by their processes. So for me, like, if a job was called in, like, what is your process? Like, having that sense of urgency, like strapping yourself in and saying, right, email the team, quick building search, who have you got for me, hitting your hot list, getting them off the market, hitting the active candidates on Monster, and just working yourself down the process till eventually you might have to do a deep search on a Bullhorn, but you know, just that sense of urgency. Speaking of sense of urgency, like if it's 5 to 12 and you're feeling hungry and a job was called in, like don't go for lunch, like get people off the market. Like if it's 5 o'clock on a Friday, look, everyone's accountable to themselves, but like that might be an opportunity to get out in front of the market, in front of your competitors, and get people off the market. Speaking of competitors, I think it's something I've done. Like I think it's healthy to burn an image of your competitors into your mind, and just imagine, like, just know who your competitors are, because it puts a face on. If you lose to the market, that's one thing, but if you lose to the guy down the road, if you lose to John or Paul or Sarah down the road, that kind of stings a bit more, and I think it can be a bit of a motivator. Other things, like get the CVs out there, like give yourself every chance. If you're going to the bother of attracting a candidate and prepping them and getting the CV out there, where else can it be sent? If you're sending it to one consultancy, why not call the other consultancies or intimate or tell them that this hot shot is with their competitors. Other things, ask for exclusivity, ask for referrals. Something went around during the week about advertising. I just advertise, like always advertise. I know some people don't. They don't always bring results, but like you're paying for it with your threshold, so just do it. Like it's not something that should be at the top of your process, but maybe do it outside of core money making hours. Maybe that's one for after 5:30, but like those ads will work for you on Saturday and Sunday when you're not working. Tips and tricks.
I think you have a fair few, to be fair. I think they were a good set of tips and tricks. I think that deserves a round of applause, just those tips and tricks. But again, like the bit about all those is what they give you is the edge. They give you the edge in the market. It's like, if you ever watch top athletes, all they're looking for is seconds, microseconds, it's tiny little bits that make the difference. And what you've articulated are all the things that make the difference. Because everybody can do the normal things day to day, but it's the things that make the difference are the things that set you apart. So I think that's
the marginal gains.
The marginal gains, yeah, it's really good. And what about you talk about mindset, but then you take personal characteristics for success. So within everybody, I suppose everybody has the ability to be successful. But what for you, what do you think are the sort of personal characteristics that have contributed to your success?
Yeah, I feel very I'm not guru here, right? But I feel very preachy here. But I can say that I am highly motivated to make money. I do like competition. I think I'm commercial, and I work quite hard. So yeah.
Okay, can't argue with those. One of the things, you're obviously now in the security space, but previously you're in the mobile space, so you sort of reinvented yourself, or reinventing yourself. And I take the other person probably who's not here has been a huge success in the business. The Irish business is, as Susan Nixon has also over time has reinvented yourself in the market. But reinventing yourself, you have particularly done it through building your personal brand. How have you done that, and why have you sort of taken that path to sort of help you grow your business?
Yeah. Well, I'd hope that my brand is viewed as like a trusted advisor, I suppose an expert in my field, someone who's not afraid of hard work, and someone who's agile and nimble enough to spot and take advantage of opportunities. I have worked in every vertical in IT at some stage or another, and I've had the opportunity to launch new desks that we haven't previously had, and had a lot of fun with it. My approach has been that, I suppose, first of all, moving into a new market, I'll learn the lingo, then I'll find the influencers and try to align myself with them. I'll then try and find if there's any special interest groups, I'll try and align myself with them. So for security, they are OWASP, ISACA and ISC squared. So Morgan McKinney are the recruitment partners for each of them, and we do like co-branded events and stuff. The other piece that we try to do then is we try to get involved in some way in the educational piece of the particular technology of that vertical. So what that allows us to do is, I suppose it results in workshops and boot camps and stuff like that, but it just adds a little something extra. Like if you're dealing with a candidate who maybe is just short of the experience to get on the short list, or maybe just didn't get the job, I suppose it's a play on the career ally stuff. Do we A, say, best of luck in your future endeavours, or do we B, say, why not come to, so say like a JavaScript developer didn't get the job, come along to our AngularJS meetups. They're the last Tuesday of every month in our office. Or like a security engineer, come to the hackathon catch the flag session we have at the end of August. Or like the UX guys, we've put them in touch with UX training, get a 50% discount through Morgan McKinney Network, stuff like that. It's just a little something extra and gives us a bit more influence. I think that stuff though is probably more valuable at a high level of dealing with clients. In IT anyway, like if you're on a client meeting, I've never been on a client meeting that hasn't discussed the skills gap. It's the reason why we're in a job, it's the reason why we're sitting in front of the client, because they can't find the people. So it comes up every time. So what it does allow us to do is position ourselves as the big multinational that we are, addressing the skills gap. And it allows us to show that we have influence and we have access to these key niche candidate communities. Like really, we do get quick wins from this, we do get influence, we do get referrals, we get jobs on and all of that. So we get quick wins, but really I suppose it's more amplifying the message that we specialise and we go beyond.
Well, they like that. Throw that in there. Very good, 10 out of 10, you're doing well. But like, you talked a lot there about how you build success, and one of the things you referenced was hard work. The other thing you referenced at the time is sort of working beyond core hours and various things. So I know you put in sometimes some very long hours in work, which clearly has contributed to your success. So how do you maintain the balance? How do you maintain work-life balance amid all of that and try and keep that positive energy for success?
Yeah, it's not an equation that I've cracked, but I do think that that one, I don't know, right? It's something that you're constantly working on, it's constantly changing. I don't think that recruitment is a 9-to-5 job. I think we do have to adapt to our candidates and our clients, but also adapt to what works best for us, how we work best and how we're most productive. There is times where maybe if you need to come in early to try and dodge the receptionist to get in touch with the right person, or hang back to have maybe a deeper conversation with a candidate that they wouldn't be able to have if they're hiding in the meeting room somewhere. But really, I've no doubt about it that the highest performers, they absolutely do work the longest and the hardest. I know that there's I'm sure there's books out there that profess the opposite, but from my experience that is still absolutely the case. But I don't think there's any great honour in being the longest worker. We are judged by our output, not our input. Effort is great, but it's kind of what are we billing for the month? That has to be the focus. It's a balancing act. I think it's as much a question as focus as it is time. Social Talent were in with us a couple of weeks ago, and they referenced a study where they said they looked at people working 8 hours, and they reckoned that the average productivity time was 3 hours. So it's obviously not that much. So look, when you're in, just try and be in. Stay off Facebook. If you need to go into a room, if you need to just get into your bubble to blitz, break it down into 30-minute sprints. Whatever you need to do, just try and work on focus more so. I think though, I mentioned Facebook there, technology is obviously diminishing our attention spans. There's some basic stuff we can do, clearing your emails, and maybe if you get the bus or train in, do that on the way in, clear your emails, or on the way home. Put stuff off that, maybe ask yourself, like, is what I'm doing right now contributing to putting fees on the board? If it's not, do I have to do it? If I do I have to do it right now? Can you put that stuff in, maybe into your commute? Stuff like that. But I don't know, like that's something that we're constantly learning about. For me, I write a lot of things down. It helps me. I just constantly writing stuff. I put post-its up on the fridge. I'll keep journals. I've actually written myself and posted myself letters with goals, and bit of a weirdo with that sort of stuff. But yeah, I just think, like, if something's important to you, if there's something that you want to change in your life, or if you have a particular goal, write it down. Write it down and force yourself to address it. Don't live in a constant momentum of like other people's expectations. Write out, set out your own plan for your life and try and go after it. Just in terms of work-life balance, one thing that I do every so often, it's probably hard to explain, but I'll get a piece of paper, and on the right-hand side I'll write down, I suppose, the ingredients of my interpretation of what wealth is, or just the important pieces of my life. So it might be friends, family, career, sports, maybe it's yoga, maybe whatever you're into. So I'll put that on the right hand side. On the left hand side I'll draw a big circle, and I'll imagine that's like a pie chart. So that pie chart then is representative of my total focus or my total time. I'll then superimpose the ingredients into the pie. I'll cut it up, and I'll take a step back and I'll look at it, like how much of that time and focus is with work, how much of it is with friends, family, and then maybe just look at it objectively and say, okay, in the next 90 days, where do I want to put my focus? And really, I don't know, like, it's for the high performance stuff, like, yeah, it does come with sacrifices, like, there's no doubt about it. You can't be 100% in every area, and I think, to be honest with you, like getting the really, really high numbers, I think it's like, yeah, for sure you do sacrifice things. Like, the way I look at it is maybe you're 150% in one aspect of your life, and you're, that's your life. But maybe there's another alternative where you're 80% in several aspects of your life. So it's just choose where your aim is and what your goals are. But I don't know, with any tips, let me know.
Well, I certainly probably give it a lot more consideration than lots of people, and it's a really interesting perspective, the way you sort of break it down like that. But lastly, tell me a bit about Dara outside of work. So have people know Dara in work. So what about Dara outside of work? So what are you into? What do you enjoy? What gets you going outside of work?
Thankfully, like, a lot of people do know me outside of work. The team at the moment is brilliant, and like, we've a great social side to it, so it's great. I love my friends and family, love sports, big into MMA and boxing. Boxing for me is like, yeah, just like, it's something that has taught me great life lessons, and like, I've won some titles that I'm really proud of, and so that's big for me. But other things like yoga, podcasts, meditation, anyone that knows me knows I like a good party. I do like a good session.
I've seen you on a few of them over the years.
Yeah, that's me.
That's you. Well, look, I think, to be fair, that's a great way to end, because, as you say, that's me. I think you've got a real picture of Dara, and, as I say, his success hasn't come about by chance. Listen to him, it hasn't come about by chance. He just wasn't looking. It just didn't happen. He made it happen, and it's through a lot of the thinking and the mentality, the mindset, the personal characteristics. And everybody's different. Not everybody in this room is Dara or thinks like Dara, otherwise it would be an interesting business. But that would be different if everybody thought like me. It'd be an interesting business. Everybody's unique and different. So really today is to sort of take a few of the sort of things for you that land, and hopefully for everybody, something that Dara's given, I think, for everybody should land and be able to take from today. So I really appreciate your time. I would like, maybe, if anybody did have any questions before we break, maybe to ask open it to the floor and see, has anybody any questions of Dara, now that he's here? Not putting you under pressure now.
I'll ask you a question, Dara. Just in terms of highlights during your career in Morgan McKinley, is there a standout moment or a particular?
Yeah, like there's been a few. Like I think, like a lot of this for me, like especially if your focus is billings, there's a temptation to put something. Okay, when I'm top biller, you know that would be great, but that's kind of fleeting. So you have to have like hurdles along the way. The top biller thing was great. Like I remember in 2015, I was like, okay, I've been number 2 so many times, but I missed it by like, I think it was like a few €100. I was really close. So 2016 was sweet. But probably the highlight was probably South Africa. Like I thankfully like I've been, you know, had the privilege to hack up I don't know how many championship golf courses around Ireland, but with the high flyers and stuff. But we went to South Africa, which was just an unbelievably generous, like everything paid for. I don't think I put my hand in my pocket once. It was just that was one that really, that blew my mind. That was amazing.
And when he said he can party, I was with him in South Africa.
The right party at
He can party. Ethan, you had your hand up there.
Yeah, earlier you mentioned something about, you know, having your competitors' image etched in your mind. But apart from that, like, do you have any role models, anyone you look up to?
Besides here, look up to you. I do, honestly, genuinely. You've been, the last year I've learned, I've learned more in this year than I have in the last 5 or 6 years, genuinely. And the same goes with like seeing like junior people coming in, like I know you're not junior, but new people. Like I was working with Kevin last night and just his enthusiasm, and it's unbelievable. So like, yeah, role models, like I like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee's probably my role model. And McGregor, yeah. So Lee Fontaine, Jeff Fitz, Kevin Armstrong.
Right, any others say? Sorry.
Would you give, what life tips would you give for new starters then?
Just keep an open mind. I think like going to like just try and be a sponge. I know it's a cliche, but like go to things and just ask for advice, listen into calls. Don't try and like ask for advice from more senior people, but don't try and like do it your way. Like that process works for them, right? But like don't try and emulate. Like anyone who's great in any field isn't. Muhammad Ali doesn't get great by trying to be a better version of whoever. He was like doing it his way. So take bits from different places. If I could bring it back to Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, I don't know if you've any, you might back me on this. Right? So Bruce Lee was, without even knowing, right, he like invented mixed martial arts, and the reason for that was he invented a martial art called Jeet Kune Do. Right? So previous to this, geez, I'm going on a serious rant. If you want to leave, just leave. So Jeet Kune Do, the idea of it was, right, in martial arts back then, it was you do karate or you do taekwondo, and that was your doctrine. But for the first time, he was very forward thinking. He said, okay, you take bits from this. You take this bit works for me, this bit works for me. Forget about this bit. Where am I going with this? So, and the sad thing then actually, so Jeet Kune Do then after Bruce Lee died, it has become a curriculum, so it's kind of goes against his philosophies. But anyway, I don't know where I'm going. Just take bits from, ask for help. I don't know. We're doing good though.
Right. Any others?
When you like kind of said, you were saying like you set a goal and you like set, you know, you write it down. Even when you kind of achieve one, like even like say you wanted to be top biller in a company, like globally, you got that. Like how soon before you were kind of reassessing what the next one was? Like,
yeah, like to be honest, I know like the top biller thing was real, like it's something I am proud of, but genuinely, right, hand on my heart, it was never ever been my goal. Like I compete against myself. Like I've never, and I know there's always been will you get her this year, and it's a bit of banter, but like my target is my target, and if I hit that, I'm happy. You know, when I do work in, the way I do it is I'll have like gold, silver, bronze. If I get in anywhere around there, I'm happy. If I don't, then I'm unhappy and I have to work harder. But yeah, like it's straight away, like it's not, if you put too much emphasis on, you know, the medal, if you win the boxing title at the end, that shouldn't be the problem. Like, you have to enjoy the journey along the way, and it's never ending. You can't complete this game.
Well, I think that's a good way to finish. You can't complete this game because the reality of we all have to go back to work now. So look, just to Dara, thank you so much. You said to me earlier, you asked me, was I nervous? I said I wasn't nervous. I said, were you nervous? I said you were. Well, you wouldn't think you was nervous, to be fair. And look, I think it's been a really great insight and perspective, and you know, like everything, it's as I said, I hope you all have got something out of the conversation. Appreciate your time and attention. Appreciate it's a bit warm here today, but just to Dara and to everybody here, thanks a million, and for organizing.